what's up? Welcome to Hip Hughes History. We're banging out amendments like it's nobody's business in the Constitution for Dummies series, and I'm thinking number 24 is a good number to hit home for you. So giddy up for the learning, pay attention, let's do the 24th Amendment right now.
Amendment 24, Section 1. The right of citizens of the United States to vote in any primary or other election for president or vice president, for electors for president or vice president, or for senators or representative in Congress shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state by reason of failure to pay any poll tax or other tax. Section 2. The Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation.
So there you go, guys. To briefly summarize, this is the end of poll taxes. So if that's all you need to know, you can turn off the video. I'm kidding, don't turn off the video. So poll taxes, guys, is an historic Jim Crow piece of legislation in the southern states. By 1902, all 11 southern states had poll taxes that were basically used to charge people money to register to vote. And now this is squarely aimed in the face of African Americans. If we go back to Reconstruction and we understand that in 1877 the Union Army left the South, what you talking about, Mr. Hughes? They shouldn't have left the South, but they did. And then you know what happened? Yeah, you do. That was the worst Southern accent ever. But the concept is that the southern states were using their reserved powers, 10th Amendment, in order to create havoc to get blacks not to be able to register to vote. Now, in 1937, there's a court case called Breedlove versus Suttles. And the Supreme Court had a chance to basically throw out poll taxes and tell the states that the 14th Amendment and the Due Process Clause wouldn't allow them to mess with people's right to vote. But the federal Supreme Court upheld these poll taxes, stating that basically elections were up to the states to run and to regulate. So by the 1940s, even though there's a push by progressives to get some type of federal law to ban poll taxes, it became very undoable, mainly because of FDR's New Deal basically losing the 1938 elections and the rise of the Southern Democratic Party. Guys, I know a lot of times people get mixed up about this, but it's Southern Democrats that are the racists. Southern Democrats that are KKK. And they're using the Constitution to hide behind their ugly racism in the 1940s, standing on the idea of states' rights and federalism. But we all know what's going on. They used the filibuster in the Senate to effectively make it impossible for Democrats or Republicans to get any type of piece of legislation out of Congress. So we go all the way up through the 1950s. In the 1950s, poll taxes was ignored, basically because of the communist Red Scare. So by 1960, JFK becomes president, and he puts that on the front burner. Amazingly enough, it's easier to get an amendment to the Constitution in the 1960s than to break the filibuster in the Senate. And that's exactly what happens. So in 1962, it's actually a Southern Democrat, Senator Holland from Florida, who basically introduces this amendment. And I think that went a long way to showing the country that we were ready to move beyond poll taxes. On January 23rd of 1964, 3/4 of the states officially ratifies that amendment, and now we have the 24th Amendment. Now, that's not to say that all the southern states just lined up and ended poll taxes. State poll taxes for state elections went on all the way to 1966 in Harper versus Virginia Board of Elections, when the Supreme Court selectively incorporated the 14th Amendment to ban poll taxes across the country. And that's it, baby. There's your poll taxing ending. 24th Amendment, the end of poll taxes. So we hope you learned something. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You can click the monkey's face right here. You'll subscribe. It's an amazing piece of 21st century technology. All right, guys, giddy up. Where attention goes, energy flows. We'll see you next time. Last thing, I promise. Some people have claimed that voter ID laws, which have kind of swept across much of the nation in order to deal with the problem of voter fraud, violate the concept of the 24th Amendment by basically giving somebody a burden in order to vote. So I'd like to hear what you think about that down in the comments below. Is voter fraud a problem? And if it is a problem, or if it's not a problem, does the government have the right to basically put a hurdle in front of you in order to vote? So that would be great if you hit the comments below. We'll battle it out, baby. There you go for the learning.